Well, hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us on this Friday podcast. My name is Ann Sontag, and I am a Senior Presidential Director here at LifeWave. Due to some changes today, I have the privilege of having my daughter in Scotland host with me. And Sarah, you want to introduce yourself and say hi?
Hi. Well, it's a privilege. I'm Sarah Roxburgh. I'm here in Scotland right now, and I love that they made a Friday patching podcast that actually works when it's not 2 a.m. my time. So I love that it's European friendly over here, and I love that I get to do it with my mom today, mom and daughter team. So it's lovely to meet you guys. And before we get started, we're going to start with our disclaimer. David, hit us off with our disclaimer, please.
Sure, thank you. All LifeWave products are not intended to cure, treat, diagnose, or prevent any disease. If you are on medications or have medical conditions, pregnant or nursing, please consult with your physician first. All patching podcasts are for informational and educational purposes only. And thank you, Ann, for doing this. Have a great
Well, thank you, David. Sure appreciate you sharing that for us. So I'm going to share a little about the company LifeWave and the technology that has made a major impact around the globe. In early 2000, as a result of the work David Schmidt performed in the design of emergency oxygen systems for General Dynamics, he was invited to participate in the Navy's Next Generation Mini Sub program. David was challenged to develop something that would naturally enhance the energy and stamina of the Navy SEALs to minimize the use of acetaminophen or caffeine pills or other stimulants. This led to the first patch developed, the energy enhancer, and the beginning of LifeWave as a company in 2004. Since then, we've released over 10 other patches. However, our Holy Grail patch was released in 2019, which is the X39. We currently have over 150 patents that are focused on anti-aging and regenerative science. We have 90 clinical studies proving the efficacy of LifeWave phototherapy, with many more studies in the works. We are in over 80 countries with 15 global distribution centers. So today we're going to be hearing from Darlene Green, who is a retired Navy commander with over 26 years experience in executive leadership and senior management positions. Darlene, if you want to go ahead and unmute and tell us how the technology has changed your life, and especially we're going to be talking more for Jim, your husband. And go ahead and unmute and let us know what was going on before you found the patches and then up to now.
Thank you. It's great to be here. So my husband, Jim, was diagnosed with a severe neurological decline about 4 years ago. And we began to try a lot of different modalities in an effort to help do anything to stop the decline. So we went out of country 4 different times and got IV stem cells that didn't make any difference. We did hyperbaric chamber that actually made things worse. We did ozone blood spinning therapy, hydrogen water. We revamped the diet and took out all the bad things, from alcohol to Diet Coke to genetically modified foods, all of those things. And we added strength training and all of these efforts. We did a little bit of prescription meds, but not much, because there's really nothing that's that great out there for that. And he was napping at this point about 3.5 hours a day, and then also falling asleep at 7 p.m. at night while we were going to bed at 8:30. So this was like a lot of sleep through the day, really disengaged from conversations. It was just too challenging and exhausting for him. I think he just couldn't make the words. He couldn't find the words. He would ask the same questions 7 times in 3 minutes. He was no longer even trying to be funny. And that's very much a part of his personality, is to be funny. It's huge for him. He was unable to whistle anymore, which he's just a brilliant whistler. It's like a musical instrument. Drum. He had lost his sense of smell 15 years ago, which we didn't know then, but we now know is an early warning sign. He was not getting very good deep sleep, which is a very critical thing for the brain, since that's when the toxins get flushed and the brain cleanses. So we were working really hard on deep sleep, from red lights to making sure we didn't eat right before bed and all sorts of things. And that was not making any difference. We were still only getting about 15 minutes of deep sleep for him. My husband has always had a very significant bald spot since I met him, fairly large, and his hair was gray. His blood pressure was high, and they were talking about putting him on some blood pressure medicines, and I wasn't really happy about that. And neither were some of the doctors, because they needed blood up to his brain. So it was a little bit of a conflict. In fact, it was up to like 172/94 and 160/86. So pretty tough. All right. So then we started patching. And I mean, after trying about everything, I didn't have great expectations, I'll admit, but I was excited about the possibility. And he really didn't even know what I was doing. He was just like, sure, whatever. I mean, he's just a great, wonderful man. So I put these patches on him. And in the first day, he didn't nap. He didn't take that 3.5-hour nap. He did not fall asleep at 7 p.m. at night. All week he was like, I mean, and it's continued. So he was much, much more engaged in conversation. He wasn't 3 conversations behind. He was chattier. He was more with it. He was not asking me the same questions 7 times in 3 minutes, which is a godsend, because that's hard to always act like it's the very first time you've heard it and be as patient as you'd like to be always. He was not only funny, but he was flirty. His personality, I got my husband back, and that was just priceless. The second week, he recorded the best sleep we'd ever had. And we record this every single night, and I look at it, it was 1 hour and 25 minutes of deep sleep. So we went from 15 minutes to 1 hour and 25 minutes of deep sleep. At the 10-week point, we discovered on a trip back from Father's Day spending in San Diego that he was able to whistle to music again and drum to the beat again. And that was exciting. In a normal checkup, we had his blood pressure noted it had dropped down to 135/87 from, again, 172/94 to 135/87, a 25 to 37% point drop. And then I also, this is just kind of a weird thing, but at the 4-month point, I noticed that he had a nodule about the size of a large marble underneath his forearm. It had always been there as long as I noticed, and then it just was gone. It just completely disappeared. So that was kind of interesting. At the 5-month point, he regained his sense of smell. This was something he'd lost 15 years ago. This is a huge neuro advance, right? So he regained his sense of smell, and that was really exciting. His bald spot has closed up, and he's got chestnut brown hair growing in, which I didn't ever know he had chestnut brown hair. It's always been either gray or blonde for the time I've known him. So that was really fun. So don't get me wrong, we have a long, long way to go. He's still very much in neurological decline, but we have had these amazing improvements that make life so much better. He is living a higher quality of life. I am living a higher quality of life. And I'm just really, really grateful and hopeful for all that the patches can do and all that they have done.
Wow, Darlene, that is fabulous. That is so exciting to hear. And you know what? We can't wait to have you back on in maybe 3 months or even 6 months to hear more. And I do want to ask, which patches are you patching Jim with?
And I was afraid you would ask me, and this is going to just confound everybody, but every one of them, every single thing. I mean, he does the aromatherapy, he does every single patch, and so do I. And the only thing he's not doing is the lotion on the face. And I'm doing everything, and he's doing everything except that, because he doesn't really put lotion on his face. And we really started doing that from week 1. Because I looked at the list and all the things, and I'm like, yes. After spending $10,000 for an IV, this was like, yes, we don't have time to wait. I don't have time to try like 2 patches now, and then let's add a few more. Let's throw the whole kitchen sink. Let's activate or optimize as much as possible all of his body and all those foundational cells. So all of them.
That is so good. And I know you told me that the way that he had known that his smell came back.
Yes.
Story?
Yes. So in the very beginning, when we did start the aromatherapy probably 2 months in. We didn't start that right away. But I would spray his hand and tell him to smell it. And he would say, there's nothing on there. I would say, there's something on there. He goes, well, it's not working. And I'd say, just breathe it in anyway. Just breathe it in. It's okay that you don't smell it. And he would do that. And then it was probably, I don't know, 5 months in that he goes, "Oh, that smells nice." And I was like, "Wait, what?" And so he actually finally smelled the aromatherapy, and he smells it now every day, and it's really exciting.
That is a huge recovery. That is wonderful. Thank you so much, Darlene, for sharing. And we just look forward to having you on again.
Thanks.
And Sarah, would you like to unmute, make sure that Stephanie is unmuted, and go ahead with your interview with her?
Yes. Thank you so much, Darlene, for sharing that testimony about your husband. You've got like a whole family full of stories and healing journeys, and it's just very touching. And I love that. So thank you for sharing that. Stephanie, are you on with me here?
Hello. Yes, I am.
I'm so looking forward to hearing your story, but it's more your son's story, isn't it? So can you tell me a little bit about what was going on before you guys started patching, and what's going on now, and how long have you been wearing the patches as well?
Okay, so we haven't been doing it as long. My son was born with a fusion from C2 to C6 in his neck, which we didn't really know existed until he tried to play football in middle school. And he was really pushing himself, but he was in a lot of pain. He was getting more and more miserable as time went on. And about 2 weeks into practice, he was almost in tears. He was like, "I cannot put the football helmet on and look up, Mom, and I can't get in the stance." So I decided to take him to the chiropractor, and he did an x-ray. And when I looked at the x-ray, my heart sunk because he had no spinal definition in his neck at all. So the chiropractor basically looked at me and said he has a neck of a 90-year-old man. And thank God he didn't play football, because had he been tackled, he would have run the risk of being paralyzed, or his neck could have snapped. So we had to really take a different look and different outlook. And I have brought him to one of the best orthopedic hospitals in the world. And they looked at me and said, "Well, do physical therapy." What? You know what I'm saying? And he can't basically engage in anything. No contact sports, no, they're asking what discs were fused. So it's C2 to C6 in his neck. He has a curvature in his spine, and then he has fusion starting in his lumbar region as well. So I went on a journey, went to school, went back and got my degree in all natural medicine, and we took this journey. So I kind of went on the same path where we cleaned up the diet, we changed everything, we did exercising and everything. And so I had found the patches, and we started that. Now, we only started with the X39 to start with, and the carnosine, I believe it was. And we did that for a month, and then we started our second month, and we got in the car. Now, my son had maybe 30% range of motion, and he could never completely turn and touch his neck, like his chin to his shoulder. And we got in the car the other morning for school, and he goes, "Mom, look at this." And he turned and he touched and he has no problem. So there's no more pain, because my son's 14. He is, he will never be able to play sports. He will never be able to do all the other things. But the beauty of it is that he's now sleeping better. He doesn't have the stiffness in his body. He doesn't have the aches and the pains. I suffer from lupus and RA, and so, I don't want him to have what I went through the medical field with those of all these medications and all these things. And I had horrible response mechanisms to all the medications. So, that was kind of why I took this journey on all natural. And there's not, his condition is 1 in a bazillion, like 1 in 40 million kids, right? And so for him to be able to have movement, to not be in pain, to sleep better, like that's anything a mom could ever want, right? So and we've increased some of his patches. So he does, we have about 5 or 6 of them now that we rotate and use differently at different times. And it's been a huge success because he functions better. He is doing great in school. He's, you know, and it gives him hope too, because he doesn't have to suffer in pain all the time.
I love that. And I agree with Jim and Ann Ford of what a great mom you are. Because
Thank you.
moms will do anything we can. We will jump as high as we can jump, and we'll take out as many loans to get as many, whatever we can do, because there are babies. And I think that is just absolutely amazing. So how long would you say you guys have been on the patches so far? I know you were saying it long.
We have been on the patches now for, he's been on it now for, I would say, almost a month and a half now. A little over a month and a half. So we're going in on our 2nd month, you know, so I started using them as well, which has made a huge difference too. So we're kind of playing around with some other ones next time as well. So we've gotten great success. The beautiful thing about it is that there's no side effects. He has horrible allergies, you know, even that has come under control. Like my kid is the kid that if the cat is under the house, his face is swelling inside the house. So, and we have a black cat that lives under our house, and he loves animals, so he doesn't want to get rid of it. So he kind of suffers through it, and even that has gotten better. So amazing, actually.
I love that. That is so amazing. And that's with 2 months of wearing these patches. And so I know we're going to pull you back on here in a couple of months to see how you and your son is going and how you guys are getting on. Mom, do you have any questions that you'd like to ask Stephanie?
I just say, you know, going from say 30% of non-movement to being able to touch his chin and in 1 month, basically, that is huge. And so, you know, I can't wait to hear about the regeneration that his body is doing as these patches are helping him. And so, wow, that's beautiful.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Stephanie. We'll definitely be touching base with you as well. And so you guys are probably all wondering, what are we talking about here? What are these patches? And I just want to show you what one looks like. It just looks like a quarter. I've taken off half of the sticker, but this is our X39 patch. And these patches work by they're like photo light therapy patches. Another fancy word for that is photobiomodulation, and that just means light making change in the body. And so these patches are made out of organic amino acid crystals that when you apply it to your skin like this, it gets activated by your own body heat, because our bodies are a form of light. Another form of photo light therapy that we've been experiencing, it's been since we were born, and it's when the sun shines on our body and the heat from the sun tells our body to create more vitamin D. I always said, I'm going to go get me some vitamin D. I'm going to go sit outside. But it turns out that the heat actually tells my body, create more vitamin D. So with these patches, our own body heat is the form of light. We are the form of light. And when we put these patches on our body, it gets activated by our own body heat, and it reflects back a light wave that elevates the GHK copper peptide in our body. Now, that amazing peptide in our body activates a very foundational cell in our body that we need to help our bodies repair and rebuild, and completely resets our foundational cells to a younger and healthier state. And that is why you are hearing and seeing some amazing results from different age groups. We've got husbands, we've got kids. And why this is so important is that because some of these foundational cells, we lose the activity and what they do in our body and how they help our body becomes less and less, which is why we start aging and why we start kind of deteriorating. And so when we activate this peptide in our body jumps back into gear and doing what it is designed to do in our body, which is to repair and rebuild. and it gets to work, which we love to see. We love to see the reversal process of age. And so people are noticing and experiencing better sleep. They're experiencing more energy, youthfulness, mental clarity. Our inflammation is being brought down. And so it's just really exciting to see what happens when our body finds this homeostasis place where it was designed to be, and our bodies start working properly and moving in the right direction that we all want to see, right? We all want to keep getting stronger, and we all want to be sleeping good. We want to have our energy. We want to be able to chase after our kids and not have it be the other way around. And so it is just exciting to be here and to listen to these amazing, amazing testimonials. So, Mom, would you like to add anything to that?
Yes, it's very simple to wear. You just wear them 12 hours on and then 12 hours off. You can swim in them, bathe in them, you can go to the ocean in them, and you can wear them day or night. It doesn't necessarily matter. Some of them you wouldn't want to wear at night if you want more energy, but mainly people wear the X39 during the daytime and just 12 hours on, and then they take it off. And so and then you definitely need to be drinking water to keep yourself rehydrated. And if you want more information, a really good website is startx39now.com, startx39now.com. You can go there. There's lots of information there, videos and stories that people are telling, and lots of really good information that you can dig into more. And we're just really, really happy that you came to us today. And so we're going to send you back to the person who invited you here today. If you want to say, how do I get my hands on these wonderful patches? Then just go back to the person who invited you, and they will help you put together a personal kit for you, something that's, just to help you get started. And just remember that we're going to have these patching podcasts every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It's at 8 p.m. Central. And then Friday, of course, it's for the European, and it's at 3 p.m. Central. So with that, Sarah, is there anything else you want to add? I want to thank Darlene and Stephanie for coming on, sharing your story with us. That was wonderful. We can't wait to have you back again. And is there anything else, Sarah, you want to say before we close?
Yes, just to say thank you guys so much for being brave and sharing your stories. It's very inspiring. Some of those conditions that we were talking about in the world we live in today, there wouldn't be a getting better, but there is. And I'm so thankful for this technology that gives hope and gives us hope. And I feel like in the world we live in, we need a lot of hope. So thank you guys for getting on and inspiring us and encouraging us. And we hope you guys have a wonderful rest
I
of
have
your.
one thing.
Oh, yes, David.
Yes, tonight at 9 p.m. on the same channel, there's a compliance podcast for everybody. So I just wanted to mention that. Thank you. Great job.
Is it 9 p.m. Eastern, David?
It's 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank
All right,
you,
we'll see y'all
David.
later. Thanks again.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.